Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the Token Metrics Thursday live stream. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need to make money in crypto, then subscribe to this channel. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up and turn on alerts so you know when we go live. This stream is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. All right, let's take a brief moment to welcome everybody coming on the stream today, looking for guidance. Taz, yo, London, okay. All the great loyal fans, Nathan Church, Routine Cheese, Drew X, Megan, hi from Boston. Okay, we've got South Africa, Kentucky, Poland, right? Will Tell says this is a bear market slump. We will get into that. Okay, we have Mexico, Budapest, Houston, Baltimore, Maryland, the UK, India, all joined in the stream. Okay, we've also got Belgium and Pakistan in the house. Right? Tell us about Cadena launch pads about to go. All right, maybe we can look into that in the Q&A session. We've got Caracas and Nigeria. Okay, folks, the market is dumping. And we are going to figure out what is happening right now with your market update. All right. I'm getting this up going here. We have got new Quant TA Indicators, which I know our friends in South Carolina, Macedonia, Georgia, Tokyo up late at night, Liverpool. All right. You guys are going to love this. We're taking the whole system of analysis and we are revamping it. So believe it or not, your live stream and your live stream host at Token Metrics is always working hard to upgrade. And as this market gets more volatile, we've got some new cool stuff. So I'm going to take it slow and try to explain as much of it as I can. I'll probably be explaining it for a couple of different streams. All right. Token Metrics is offering a 30% off any annual plan up until February 21st. The code is LOVE30. Now, here's a question. The market's down, and you're like, gee, why do I need research? Why do I need a subscription when the market's going down? And here's your answer. So at 5:45 a.m., all right, when I'm writing some of our newsletter content that went out today, I looked on Token Metrics' website and I saw that the All Exchange Daily Index, so that means our AI goes through every exchange, right, and looks for the best coins. And I looked at this and I'm like, this is all cash and gold. So I immediately emailed my quant department and I was like, hey, this thing went to cash and gold? They're like, yeah, it did. I've only seen this one or two times before. And that was when, the last time we saw it was when the market got, kind of absolutely wrecked. So it pays to have the subscription, right? Versus hearing it on a live stream, at say midday. Okay. Because our AI indices are famous for this. It's happened a couple times during the DeFi boom in 2020, right? We've refined it to where, things can go to cash a lot faster, especially if there's about to be a big drop. So love 30 for your Token Metrics 30% off coupon. Now let's go to the rationale and just some color as to why the dump happened. Let's start with Dash, right? Which is so painfully become a reverse indicator. Dash was pumping the last 2 days with the market flat to down. Now, every time Dash, Litecoin, or XRP pump, the market turns around and goes down. Sad but true. It's happened a couple of times. Now, let's talk about Quant TA and the bond market. So once upon a time in the 80s, there was this guy named Tom Demark, okay? And he was one of the original quants in the market. Paul Tudor Jones, I believe, one of the bigger hedge funds, essentially gave Tom Demark a floor in a skyscraper filled with programmers so that he could make very specialized TA indicators, very specialized, right? And they're available on things like Bloomberg terminals. And, it was really only for the hedge funds and those type of people. I use these indicators when I was at Goldman. Now, these indicators from Demark are great at finding reversals. He's got a lot of indicators, but the most famous ones are for finding reversals. Now, how does it work? Well, the algorithm will count a certain set of conditions, right? It's complicated. Like, say, I don't know, the low is lower than the low 2 days ago. But whatever it does, the computer, counts its conditions. And when it either gets to the 13th count or in another indicator, the 9th count, it can lead to a reversal. You have to pay attention. So this is IEF, and like an equity market product or ETF for short-term U.S. government bonds. So this thing has been going down because, the Fed has been hiking rates. Inflation's terrible, and that's terrible for bonds because when rates go up, bonds go down. All right. So down, 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 down goes bonds. And in the bottom right-hand corner, what do we have? We have the 13 warning of a bottom, and then we have the 9 warning of a bottom. Now, from my experience with these indicators, when you get that 13 and then a 9, it's kind of like it's like a double shot. You have to pay attention. So I've been looking at this for 2 days, right? And I talked to our quant guys. I'm like, hey, what do you think this means? And their conclusion and my conclusion is that, the bond market is potentially ready to brace for some sort of event, right? In other words, everybody in the bond market is worried about higher rates. And if you look at this chart, all right, people are like, oh shit, like maybe something really is going to happen in the Ukraine. Like, for example, I don't know if you noticed, but Geopolitical Futures, my favorite, research think tank out of Austin, Texas, was reporting that there was a countrywide cyber attack in the Ukraine 2 days ago. Everybody's like, oh, where are the troops moving? The whole country got hacked 2 days ago. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, right? So you have countries getting hacked, people worried about, obviously all these factors, particularly stocks. So what's the biggest problem for crypto? I think it's risks in stocks. Stocks may be so overvalued, right, that, we could be headed for a sharp equity market decline in February. And of course, they feel the need to at least beat up on crypto in the short term. So I'm not saying it's the end of the world today in crypto, but clearly fear is rising, right? Now, I was hoping for a second half of February that would be great, right? I still think the last week of February could be good, but when you look at this, you're like, well, they may have to smack it up first, because if the bond market is bottoming, there has to be a reason for that. All right. So let's take a look at one of the reasons why the bond market could be freaking out. And here is, kind of a Bitcoin and Tesla maximalist, Cathie Woods, okay, famous for the ARKK ETF, right? She says her innovation stocks are way undervalued and recent fund losses are temporary. Well, naturally, she's going to say that. She's not going to say, dump our funds, we're idiots, right? But, she's on the book trying to prop up, the altcoins of the equity market. So you might ask, what do the altcoins of the equity market look like on charts? Well, here we are. All right. The ARK 4-hour chart. So ARKK. And as you can see, right, back in December, one of our new indicators from the work of Bill Williams triggered 3 sell signals back in December, followed by a big down day, which started a downtrend. Now, lately, we see 3 down signals in like a bear flag pattern. And today, like all risk assets, ARK is getting hammered. So I'm wondering if the problem isn't crypto, obviously, whether it's really stocks. Now, that doesn't mean that crypto is, awesome, because it's not. It's down 5% across the board today. But I think the real fear that we have to now live with in crypto is what's going to happen in equities. Okay. Now, with that said, let's move directly to crypto. So, Bitcoin had some sell signals from these Bill Williams indicators, right? These indicators use things like moving averages. They use things that measure, the volume on any particular bar. They use things that you would think would be in indicators like stochastics or MACD. But they're thinking and they're more sophisticated, just like the Demark indicators. Okay, it's quant and fractal based. In other words, it's not like, oh, I drew a line, or that guy who was giving me a hard time about plain Jane stochastics the other day. Now, this stuff's different. So, Bitcoin had some sell signals, and we knew that, right? I mean, Bitcoin was not going to get through 45K because that's kind of our line, right? 45K was resistance. And now it's turning around and falling back into support. This is the Bitcoin futures contract. Support is around 41K. And if things get really ugly, I guess you could say support is at 39K. Now let's look. That was the Bill Williams look. This is the Tom Demark look on a 4-hour chart. So as you can see on the right-hand side of the chart, the Tom Demark work had the 13 signal up at 44K, right? And then Bitcoin comes off, and then Demark's work is really cool in that based on this system that generates the 13s and the 9s, automatic horizontal support and resistance levels get drawn, taking the guesswork out of, where's support and where's resistance. Nice to know that on the Demark work seems to be a confirmation of what I had on my charts, that Bitcoin support is around 41.8. And if that doesn't hold, it's 39K. So the Demark work, found the top and now is telling you where support is. So let's take a look at Ethereum. Now, Ethereum ran into some support, resistance near the dotted lines up at the top, right around 3220. This fits with what we've been saying about Ethereum for a couple of days, which is that there's something going on in the options market, right? Where if Ethereum goes to 3250, it'll pull back to 3000. And if Ethereum goes to 2850, it'll probably get pulled back to 3000. And that's the way it's going to be until options expiration. Now, again, don't want to go through the options tutorial, but, Ethereum right now is sitting right near 3K or just underneath it. And support is, guess where? According to the Demark work, 2845. So it looks like Ethereum is just whipping around in a range between, 3220 and 3845. All right. Now, if something else dramatic happens, right, then I guess we have to make a new calculation. But for Ethereum, which, according to our fundamental analysts, is becoming like an NFT network, right? Ethereum is really changing in the sense that it has a very unique use case that could, potentially lead, to Ethereum not getting totally destroyed in a down move and performing very well in an up move because it's this NFT highway. One of the things we wrote about in the newsletter today for Token Metrics subscribers is that if there is a problem with stocks, art and stocks are not correlated. That means if you're worried you're going to lose money in stocks, putting money in art is a way to sort of preserve capital, because if stocks go down, art doesn't necessarily go with it. Now, of course, not investment advice. That doesn't mean your useless JPEGs can't go to zero. They got to have utility. They got to be blue chip, okay? Because when we say art and stocks are not correlated, we're not talking about something some guy made in his basement. We're talking about blue chip art. But Ethereum hopefully finds support at 28.45 because of the NFT narrative. Now, speaking of the NFT narrative, Mehdi's going to be coming in a couple minutes to talk about, right, things going on and some of the work that he discovered at ETH Denver. All right, back to the Williams indicators for Ethereum. So there's 2,900, right? Williams works with like a group of short-term moving averages. It's kind of cool, right? So the support from the moving average system is 2,900. And then, you know, the way I drew it, if it gets really messy, 2,600 is the worst case scenario, at least for the moment. But that idea that, you know, ETH is not going to get that far away from 3,000 seems to be holding. Now let's talk Avalanche. So on Demark work, he has some unique ways to draw support and resistance. So most of it uses Fibonacci math. And you've seen me do Fibonacci stuff, but this is unique because it's quant driven. Now, the blue line in Avalanche represents what Demark calls a magnet price. So AVAX went to 100, then it comes back to 90. And who knows, you know, AVAX could go to 88, it could go to 86 or 76, right? But it may wind up gravitating back to 90, reinforcing this idea of a range, potentially, right? So it's very important to see, hey, what does Avalanche do when it goes to 90? Does it come back to it or does it keep dropping? So let's take a look at the Avalanche daily chart. So as you can see on the right, you had that awful candlestick today where Avalanche rushes up, makes a new high, and then falls apart. Okay, there's support at 90. There's support at 86. And if it all goes to hell, there's good support at 76. Okay, what I'm hoping, right, what we're all hoping in crypto is that, you know, Avalanche can find its way back to 90, even if it has to go to 86 first. Right now, if 86 doesn't hold, you know, you're probably going to have a much bigger down move. So it's almost like you can trade the whole market off three levels, right? There's 41K in Bitcoin. There's that 2850, 2900 area in ETH. And then there's 90 in Avalanche, right? And then there's 86 in Avalanche. So like those are the levels that I think you want to really pay attention to. So when we're off the stream and you're watching the video, you can say, all right, how are we doing? Now let's talk about Decentraland, right? I have to admit that I felt a little FOMO in Decentraland until I pulled up the Demark work and I saw that there was resistance and a 9 top near $3.38. So if Decentraland, for whatever reason, blows through that, that's awesome. But I don't think in this environment you want to be buying something below resistance. And as we've learned with Avalanche, nothing outperforms forever. So Decentraland is super bid because of the JP Morgan news, and I'm not hating on it. I'm just telling you or showing you that we're going to have all these new advanced quant tools that we're going to be spreading out across the entire crypto universe, right? But when I pulled this up, I was like, oh, wow, this is not going to be able to go through 338 without a range or some sort of correction. Now let's take a look at total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Talk about this a lot. Talk about it in our newsletters at Token Metrics, right? Which you get if you subscribe along with our indices. $700 billion is a big deal in altcoin market cap. So if altcoin market cap holds $700 billion, then everything is okay. This is a weekly chart. So if it gets to 700 and bounces, right? That means Avalanche, Decentraland, and ETH, right? ETH is not included in the calculation, but it's going to be, it's going to be AVAX, Decentraland, right? And maybe one or two other coins will lead the way. And this is going to need some help, right? This market cannot be carried by two coins. So, if those two coins lead other coins higher, it's okay. But if you get a close or this thing starts closing below 700 billion, total 3 on TradingView, then you have to start asking yourself, how much risk do I want to take? You probably got one more rally in here somewhere, all right? And then March is not going to be so great. So you can trade the range. You might be able to buy a dip, and who knows? Avalanche may go to 150, but it's going to have to hold up the whole market. And that, folks, is the new, improved, experimental, quantitative market update.
Hello, Bill.
Okay. So, hi, Mehdi. What's up?
Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I have something interesting for you guys. I don't know if Bill mentioned or Henrique, our producer, mentioned. I wanted to give you guys a quick update on Polkadot, what's happening on Polkadot, some of the risks that have come on foray, and some of the opportunities with Polkadot. And one of our NFT analysts has a pre-mint project for you guys that he's very bullish on. So I'll also name drop that one of that NFT. So should I just start cracking then?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. All right, so the first update we have for Polkadot is that in October they introduced this Polkadot Gifts. So Polkadot at the moment has not a great wallet, and also they want to create this kind of environment where people who are not blockchain native, they can receive gifts in Polkadot or Kusama coins as voucher. So this is something they have done recently. So they believe that this Polkadot gift will generate a unique 16-digit number that works as a voucher for anybody who wants to claim this gift. So I thought this was interesting. This is one of the strategy they're using to kind of onboard and support price pressure. Now, another thing is update regarding the crowd loan. So first, quick update on Kusama. So Kusama at the moment is around auction 12 to 15. So the Kusama has already done 11 auctions. In fact, 12, 13, 14, 15 auctions. And they are at this stage of the crowd loan. Whilst if you compare this with Polkadot, one second. Polkadot did successful auction of their first 5 batches. So Moonbeam and Akala had around 1.4 to 1.5 billion dollars worth of Polkadot bonded in order for them to win the auction. But one thing that strikes out is that Moonbeam last 7 days haven't done that well, and similarly with other projects such as Akala and Clover. But the other winners coming along as well. Affinity also raised a lot of money. Composable Finance, Centrifuge, and Hydra DX were other winners, and the auction is still ongoing. I think till March, and those projects that will win will basically get onboarded around mid-March. And then we'll have auction 11 to 15 and 15 to 20 and so on and so forth. So this is a quick update on how their auction process is going. I felt with their auction process, a lot of Polkadot would have been bonded and the price would be supportive, but unfortunately that's not the case. Around $500 million worth of Polkadot were raised for this auction 6 to 11. Ideally, we wanted them to be in billions. This was for me one of the biggest highlights of this quarter of last quarter for Polkadot. So in December 2021, you saw this news that Deutsche Telekom basically bought some Polkadot, and they were bullish on Polkadot. Now, I would say they also have a bias because it's a German-based company, and Polkadot also has some links in in Germany. So you have that bias going on, but they bought some Polkadot for the balance sheet. They're also staking and running validator nodes, and their CEO basically also said that a lot of corporates in the future will be basically becoming they'll be using Polkadot, so they will also possibly in the future run for the parachain slot. So for me, this was something which was very interesting. Corporate adoption is something that we want to see next couple of years for high quality blockchain, and Polkadot, at least with Deutsche Telekom, has secured one corporate partner, in my opinion. Then a few days back, not a few days back, but in start of the year, we had the report by Electric Capital on the developer activity. So in terms of a developer activity, basically they said that Solana, Polkadot, and Terra are growing faster than Ethereum. So they also had this chart. So let me kind of zoom in over here. So this chart basically showed that after Ethereum, the most number of developers are on Polkadot, and but there are other competitors that are kind of catching up quickly. So Solana, Near, Cosmos are some of the other chains where developer are growing. So for me, when I'm looking at layer one, for me, users are important, but developers are more important, because if developers make killer application, or they are able to make killer features, then the users will definitely jump on the boat. So this is a very positive development in terms of developer activity on Polkadot, and hopefully in few months' time they might be able to exceed Ethereum in terms of the number of developers available. Another development was the XCM Bridge. So what this means is parachains will be able to communicate with each other. At the moment, that's not possible, but this is something which basically majority of the work has been done. So with XCM, what will happen is you don't need bridges. Parachains, all the projects built within Polkadot will be able to communicate with each other. But interestingly, I think this is something the market is not pricing in, is that any parachain on Kusama can also communicate with any parachains in Polkadot. So you have this natural fit and natural synergies between Polkadot and Kusama. So you will definitely have around in next couple of years, 200 blockchains communicating with each other, which is very similar to Cosmos. So this is something Gavin Wood has kind of finalized, and we'll see this in action. So this update was in February. Then Akala is also one of the projects that is built on Polkadot. And for me, the interesting thing is they have launched their own decentralized stablecoin. Now, ideally, you will want algorithmic stablecoins that's not backed by collateral in dollar terms or any other assets. But I think they're adopting a DAI-based model, and they're launching their own stablecoin. So this stablecoin will be basically be nurturing the whole economy built on Polkadot. So this is another very strong development on Polkadot's front. Then basically this was the roadmap, and majority of the things in the roadmap have been fulfilled. Now the future update is regarding this part. I'm just going to zoom in 1 second. Yeah, so in the future, you'll have ParaThreats, and people who do not like projects that cannot afford to take participation in auctions, they can lease these ParaThreats on timely basis rather than on full-time basis. So they can, let's say if they need it for a month, or they need it for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, they can basically launch on ParaThread, use the Polkadot security, and just go away. So this is something I think in the future will also make Polkadot as a token very valuable. We also saw within their white paper that they also have a vision for Polkadot 2.0. So Polkadot 2.0 basically is that they want to scale and kind of test out how many numbers of parachains they will be able to deploy. Hopefully they can deploy more than 100. They'll also be working on zero knowledge proof in order to scale Polkadot, or in order to introduce some privacy feature, which I thought was very interested. And they also want to kind of have nested relay chain. So basically, relay chain connected with through other parachains. I think it's an interesting idea. So they also want to push the boundaries in the future, in next few years, of what Polkadot can do. Now, let me just quickly share some of the risk and things that I believe market are ignoring with regards to Polkadot. Let's just start with what market are ignoring, in my opinion. I think corporate adoption is something the market is not looking at. Polkadot in the future will also have feeless and gasless transaction, and I think market is not giving much credit to layer zero and multi-chain narrative, which I think in the second half of this year might change, depending if we are in a bull market or a bear market. So I think these three things is what markets are not looking at. But then you also have risk, which I think market are looking at. So market knows that because you have to projects have to take participation in parachain auctions. There is this limitation of network effect. Not every project can build on top of Polkadot. So that's why I prefer to basically go long on Moonbeam, on Moon River, because those projects can easily deploy there rather than basically acquiring million dollars worth of Polkadot in order to basically start their own blockchain or start their own project. So this is something the market knows and market is pricing in. Uh, Another thing the market is pricing in is that competition is growing. So Polkadot is written in Rust, so is Near, and so is Solana. So and both the ecosystem have more money than Polkadot, and they will be competing in the future for Rust developers with these two massive ecosystem. Now Near is another project which I personally like. So you have significant competition on this front. Another risk is Cosmo. Cosmos is kind of similar, not exactly the same. It's already here. You have network effect, and Cosmos can basically survive. The whole ecosystem can survive even without the need of Atom token, and the valuation is also low. So market is pricing that in. Another thing happening on Polkadot is that there is no real innovation with the projects building up on top of it at the moment. Everything is like copy paste. So you have dexes in other ecosystem that are being pasted in Polkadot. So apart from few projects, let's say BitCountry, RMRK, or Composable Finance, you're not seeing real innovation. Majority of the project are still kind of copy pasting what other ecosystem have done. And another thing is you have terrible wallet and horrible UI UX of that wallet. I think this is something that they need to work on. So I just wanted to give you update and let you decide whether you want to be bullish or bearish with regards to Polkadot. I feel like if it comes to the price point below $15 because of market volatility, I think from risk reward standpoint it could be an interesting buy, because if it executes on its ambition and tests all time highs of $55, the risk reward is more than three. So it will make sense to kind of accumulate at that price point. So this was some update on Polkadot. Um, I'll give the floor to Bill, and I'll also give the floor to some of our audience here who might have specific questions in regards to Polkadot, and I will see if I can answer them. And if I don't have anything, I'll move on to one of the NFT projects that I like.
Yeah, Mehdi, go to NFTs. Go ahead.
All right, no questions from our audience with regards to Polkadot. I'll just give them 1 minute. Somebody's we have a debate regarding Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos. All right. Yeah, so one question is why people buy Polkadot when Cosmos is already here? Yeah, this is a very good question. Yeah, Cosmos have strong network effects, and it is able to do what Polkadot is able to do. So I'm more constructive on Cosmos. But one thing that Polkadot has is that token will accrue value when the communication between different projects will happen, which I don't think Cosmos is able to do in a nice way. So that is something which is troubling.
Right, and I think Megan had a question. Mehdi, you mentioned DOT is very expensive to build on. I don't know. Will this help decrease these costs for builders? So, is there any way Polkadot can decrease the cost of building?
Yeah, this is something which is a concern. So let's say if they increase the cost of building, you limit the network effect. But if they decrease the cost of building, then the Polkadot token wouldn't accrue value. The utility of the token will reduce. So I think they are in the catch 2-1-2 problem. It's a chicken egg problem. What do they do? If they increase the cost, limits the network effect. If they decrease the cost, then the value accrual of Polkadot reduces. So one of the best things they can do is that they're allowing through A Star and allowing through Moonriver Moonbeam those projects that know how to build through Solidity, who are already on Ethereum. If they want to migrate to Polkadot and don't want to take participation in auction process because they don't have money, they can basically deploy it there, and you don't have that much cost there. All right. I guess this kind of solves the like answers few of the questions. I'm gonna jump back in. My colleagues are in at Denver, and they're basically giving me some updates with regards to some of the things they are seeing. So at the moment, this is last 7 days volume in terms of different blockchain. Ethereum is still by far the NFT chain. And one update from the ground, from Mike, he told me the majority of the project he's interacting with that are building on Ethereum are NFT based projects. So not NFT in particular, but trying to solve problems in a innovative ways with regards to NFTs and the future. So if you guys think tokens are less valuable than NFT in different formats, let's say assets or JPEGs or digital real estate or gaming assets, I think Ethereum has a big edge in NFT. And my thesis is that Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche will dominate the NFT, and Near as well will dominate will be dominant NFT chains, and Ethereum in particular. I think is perfect for NFTs. So this is something I just wanted to tell you guys. So if you kind of are not taking a participation in some of the NFT projects on OpenSea because you feel like gas fees in Ethereum is high, or it's very expensive, might as well buy on Flow or Polygon. Rest assured, I think Ethereum is still going to be a dominant chain for NFT, and this slide kind of proves that to you. We have this newsletter which shout out to two of our analysts, Jacob and Chase. They do fantastic job in terms of giving you a watch list, easy to digest content in terms of different projects to look out for. One project that will get minted on 21st February is AKU Chapter X, the final art. Uh, this is one of the projects that our analysts are very bullish on. So I'm just going to read his report and give you guys what our analysts are thinking. So Mikai Johnson is a professional baseball player turned digital artist, is creating one of the most anticipated NFT drops of this year. So each NFT is like one chapter in the animated journey of AKU, Aku, an explorer wearing an astronaut helmet. The first chapter in the series was released exactly 1 year before the mint of the final chapter on February 21st, 2021. So minting of this NFT will and of these chapters will take place on Nifty Gateway for a price of $999. The mint will be open for 5 minutes, and with as many collection as possible, being able to claim a chapter X in that window. So you can claim one of those chapters if you're willing to buy $999. So the team is superb. Former MLB baseball player, he can generate a lot of marketing, and holders of the original AQU chapters will have access to AQU TARs. So these are like a collection of 15,000 3D metaverse compatible avatars. The community is at the moment is small, but it's very tight knit with around message of proving anything is possible. Basically, there's a lot of activity going on in the Discord, and the Twitter followers are around more than 10,000, and Discords are more than 3,000. So I'll just quickly show you the website. This is the website, aqu.world. You can just explore around, do your own research to see if this makes sense for you, and the sale will take place at Nifty Gateway. So this is where the sales will take place. I'm not an NFT expert, so I'm just relaying what our NFT experts are saying. So I'm just the messenger here. All right. Any question from you guys?
All right. Mehdi, anything else?
Yeah, that will be it from my end. Happy to take any questions if our audience has any questions for us.
All right. While the audience thinks of questions, let's jump into like almost a live update. So let's go to the charts because the market's like falling apart while we're talking. So let's see if I can bring up some charts and we can look at the experimental quant stuff together.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here we are with the 4-hour chart in Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin futures contract. And as you can see, it's right at 41K. It's right at the bottom of the gap. So, it's literally time to put up or shut up for crypto on this down move. If 41K doesn't hold, you're probably looking at 39. Okay. Now, this is the Demark work. All right. Now, as you can see at Ethereum, right? Can you see the Ethereum chart here? Okay. It's scaring the daylights out of everybody, and it's fast approaching the support point that we talked about at 2850, right? So if ETH is any good, if these narratives are right, if it really is a range, then it's going to hold support at 2850. Now, let's go back and let's take a look at something that I think is a little weird, okay? This is VIX. This is fear in equities. Now, we all know on the stream that I love to fade fear, right? Every time, like over here, right, when everyone gets upset, I'm like, well, they're too upset. And over here, I'm like, well, they're too upset. Now I'm looking at this and I'm going, wait a minute. No one's upset. I'm like, what? Oh, are you telling me that there's like no problem in equities? Like the message of crypto is not getting through to the stock market? Okay, a lot of times when people are afraid, there's nothing to worry about. But when people aren't afraid, that's a little freaky, particularly for stocks, right? Crypto is telling you that, something is wrong here. Now, let's see if I can pull up a Polkadot chart. And I know somebody was talking about getting hurt in Solana, right? So let's do Solana and Polkadot. Okay. Here comes Solana. So I've got support in Solana at 91.86, right? That's the next Solana support point. Now, here's a bigger look at Solana. Okay. So you've got support in Solana at 91.86. And you've got support in Solana at 89. Now, I know people are in a lot of pain with what's going on here, but there's an important lesson in Solana, right? Venture capitalists have got big bags. Avalanche rallied all by itself, and Solana didn't go with it. Now, let's just pretend for a second that the market does go back up. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm wondering if Avalanche can one day flip Solana on the market cap chart, right? Because venture capitalists appear to be doing nothing but selling Solana, despite the fact that, there's a clear NFT use case for Solana.
Yeah, I feel like that narrative might catch up. So even during bear market or during bull market, there could be this small brief period where people will be thinking, you know what, Avalanche might flip Solana. And to be fair, the difference isn't that much, to be fair, in terms of price or in terms of market cap now. Something which one can look into. So one trade I can think of is going long Avalanche, AVAX, and shorting Solana. So this will be like a basis trade, like all weather trade, whether it's bull market, bear market. So that is one strategy to think of. Another thing is I have applied for my Spanish visa, so I'll be hopefully be joining some of our audience here in Spain, attending the AVAX summit, asking questions with developers around, seeing how the chain is bulletproof, whether it can actually be a Ethereum killer, and try to gauge what's next for Avalanche, and maybe find some hidden gem for our audience here. Because I know one of the reason why our audience loves us, apart from technical analysis, is that we get them hidden gems that they can research on.
Very true. Very true. And definitely, if you're going to Spain, definitely look for Mehdi at the Avalanche conference, excuse me. So back to the Avalanche chart, right? We were talking about 86 in the market update. Avalanche went to 86, right? That little A could mean the damage is done in AVAX. A little early for that. But as you can see, this quant approach where Avalanche is trying to lurch back up to that magnet price at 90. So this could be a very constructive development for Avalanche if it can hold together. Now, down here, I'm not sure if you can see it. We were talking about support points below the market, right? All right. First we talked 86, right? That seems to have held. So if 86 doesn't hold, the next level I have is 84. All right. So let's go to Polkadot just for like a big picture analysis there. So obviously, this brutal fake out that occurred, right? Where you get this plus sign and then you get this green rally. This dotted line is support. That's around $17.12. So I guess if everybody gives up and there's this huge give up trade, Polkadot might go back to the sort of late January low at 17.12, right? Obviously, we're hoping that Polkadot recovers and that the Avalanche sort of thesis along with ETH, right? So let's go to ETH and check out what ETH is doing, right? And then we'll check out the chat and see what's happening. So here comes the ETH chart. Okay, so let's go to the ETH daily chart, all right? And let's ask ourselves on the stream, so you have something to take home with you, what happens if this gets ugly, right? So I'm showing, 2,800, 2,750. So there's 2,850 and 2,750 if this is a total disaster today. Giving you the levels if you're watching this on video. Now, hopefully it's not something awful. It's because the next Demark support is below 2,400. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But in the event that they just crash the market, right? It hasn't paid to buy strength or, get short into weakness. It hasn't, right? Trust me, I'm on TV every day, so I would know, right, that getting caught in the ebb and flow of the market, we're trying to gravitate more towards these quant metrics that allow us to, get out at tops and buy support at bottoms.
Bill, on that note, regards to Demark support, like how is that support calculated? Maybe that can add some color for our audience.
Okay. So there's actually two kinds of support, right? One of them uses like Fibonacci math to say, all right, here's a low, right? And this low point was similar to a low previously. And then you can use Fibonacci mathematics to project up where support and resistance would be. So a market would go down, and then the Demark work looks this way on the chart and goes, oh, we stopped here before. So based on history, we could go to these levels. And these dotted lines provide you with quant-driven reference points. All right. Some of these reference points also come from this system that, counts conditions like the 13 and the 9. So that's a whole quant-based system that, depending on the readings it gives you, they give you automatic support or resistance to focus on. So it's almost like our AI and machine learning. It's not machine learning, but these were like the OGs of sort of quant computing for TA. All right, so let's go to the chat and see what we got in there. All right, Megan thinks the rate hike is priced in now. Do you have to pay to use Demark? You do. Right, Demark is not on TradingView, right? So yes, that's like an extra service. All right, let's see who else we have in the house. Megan says, my gut is telling me Avalanche. Whoops, I missed it. All right. Let's see who else we have in the house. Somebody says we have another dump. Jesus, right? I know it's frightening. Okay, it's frightening, right? Megan, my gut is telling me Avalanche is going to rip. Last time I felt like this was when Solana was at 25 and it went to 300.
I wouldn't say the jump will be as ferocious as Solana. Now, the thing with Solana was a lot of people didn't know about the proof of history. They had a horrible marketing campaign. Their white paper sucked. Frankly speaking, it was horrible to read. So a lot of people, even technical people as well as VCs, didn't know about it. So all of a sudden, you have a blockchain which was really fast, and Ethereum gas like fees were like booming and all-time highs. And then on top of that, you had a multi-coin that supported Solana, and FTX supported Solana so much that the developers started running in. So that's why you kind of saw this very undervalued layer one, and then market were like, you know what, this is like a gem which is hiding, and hence it pumped to 250 $200 or $250 from $15. I wouldn't say the pump you'll see in Avalanche will be similar. Maybe Avalanche goes to 200 in next 1 year, 2 years, but it has the potential to be top five, and I think it's one of those plays to kind of have in your portfolio long term. You also have to think the story of Avalanche, right? So, story of Avalanche is now through Emin, who is appearing in different podcasts, is known to the world. Solana story wasn't known. So I wouldn't say the pump will be as ferocious, but it's one of those coins that you need to have if you want like a good, comfortable portfolio that basically gives you return. Now, I personally, my job is to get you the next fangs. And in my opinion, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I think Avalanche could be one of the fangs. It's undervalued also, so worth keeping in your portfolio.
All right. Thank you, Mehdi. I'm going to take one more before we sign off today. Let's take a look. Somebody's asking for the FTX tokens. So I guess people who, don't like crypto may make fun of crypto, that, crypto sort of went down after there were all these Super Bowl ads. So let's take a look at what, FTX looks like. Let's try an 8-hour chart here. Okay. So let's label this for people watching the video later. All right. Now, I don't think this looks good or bad. It's sort of neutral. Okay. Let's see if we can pull a trend line on this. Okay. Right here. So like with all these other big coins, FTX has got to make a decision. Right? Is it coming back above 46? Right? In other words, are we done for the day, or is there more downside? Right? As of now, right, the bulls are going to have to come in and show that they can take control. Right? If Avalanche and ETH hold their support points, believe it or not, that's how I would trade something like FTX. All right, folks. Jerry is asking for XRP. So let me pull this back up so Jerry can get XRP. I saw XRP in a news headline that a lot of XRP was being shipped to exchanges. And I was like, uh-oh, right? This whole idea that when XRP and Dash and these other coins outperform, all right? So what you can see in XRP is that there are these Williams topping signals here and here on the 8-hour chart, right? So you got the nice up move, but the topping signals showed up, right? And then it's falling back below the Williams moving averages. So I think if you've got money in XRP and you don't want to play the judicial legal lottery, XRP may have done whatever it's going to do on the upside. Now, if you're looking for support, right, if you want to stay bullish, I would say, 75 cents, which was the location of like the last big bottom. All right, folks, that's it for today, right? We are experimenting and working really hard. Remember, tokenmetrics.com, our indices went into cash this morning. Love 30, LUV 30 can be used for a 30% off coupon. So if you need warning signs when stuff like this is going to happen, right, you can get that. And obviously the cost of getting wrecked is a lot bigger than the cost of a subscription.
Yes.
All right.
And also to remind our audience over here, like we work really hard to bring you alpha. We airdrop you these free alpha, and so we would really appreciate if you spread the love, spread the word, hit that like button, hit that notification button, and also share it with your friends and family. So our channel size grows, and we can have a bigger team because of that, and bring you more alpha. So it's like a network effect.
All right, absolutely. Hit that like button, folks, so we can continue to help others like you. So, friends, that's it for the live stream today. I'm your host, Bill Noble. I will be here tomorrow.